first of the year's motor racing classics is the Italian Grand Prix at Monza.
And the crowd is going wild with delight.
It's over the line together. Nobody has ever seen the finish of a motor race like this.
Just listen when they go past. Listen to the tifosi. And out of the race already. There is the dejected, broken-hearted. What a fantastic situation.
The Italian Grand Prix at Monza. And this year it's more thrilling than ever.
Well, a great weekend, a great race. For some, it was a little bit too hot. He was just in the shade, trying to keep himself cool. It's so hot out here, isn't it?
This is very hot.
It's stunning. Martin's joined us from the commentary box. Nice and cool and air-conditioned in there. Lucky you.
No, it's the smallest one of the year. It's just a tiny little bit. We can't even see out of the window for our... but anyway, we saw a good race on the TV.
Yeah, you did. Enjoy it?
Yeah, I did. I mean, the battle with Michael and Lewis was classic, wasn't it? And we saw all sorts of other action. And unfortunately, as Eddie said at the end of the main show, Vettel steaming off at the front took the edge off it a bit. But generally speaking, again, some good racing all the way through the top 10 as well.
I think that's what we've seen this year. The viewing figures have once again been at a record high. And I think it's not because one man's been dominating the World Championship, because notoriously that knocks the viewing figures down. It's because, as some very lucky driver's already on his way home, it's because the racing, despite Sebastian Vettel, has been stunning.
Also, you have to add to the mix, certainly as far as our programme is concerned on BBC, we've got 3 outstanding British drivers in there. We've got Hamilton, of course. We know Button had a great race again today and pushing himself on. And let's not rule out Paul. Paul was great, and you've talked to him as Rookie of the Year so far. We're very fortunate, and they were all in different little battles. And, of course, that's why it's interesting for the boys here making good commentary on those particular positions. That's what people want to see. They want excitement. They don't really care about Vettel. They prefer he wasn't out in front. But the fact is excitement. Isn't that really what turns people on?
And we were talking at the end there about, is it going to be exciting if Sebastian Vettel wins in Singapore? And, you know, clearly you didn't want to talk that up. But even if he's won the title, the racing we've seen, you still think we're going to have some great races to get our teeth into.
This has been a major season for overtakes, for wheel-to-wheel racing. You know, the start of the Grand Prix there, you've got 3 cars running abreast, Alonso on the grass, you know, Hamilton almost rubbing wheels, if in fact he didn't actually touch Sebastian Vettel, and the run down to the braking area. Bearing in mind all of these guys have got no idea exactly how the car's going to feel, and cold tires, cold brakes, with, you know, whatever they got, 140, 150 kilos of fuel on board. You know, I think we're witnessing an absolutely fantastic era of Grand Prix racing.
Okay, just to let you know, you can get in touch via the email and via the Twitter, just waiting for this to load up. At JHumphreyF1 is the Twitter address, or you can email us in. It's f1@bbc.co.uk. Excellent. Right, what have we got here then? I'm getting lots of football tweets in because my team were playing today, so I'm not getting much about Formula 1. But as soon as this loads up, it takes a bit of time. It's a bit slow. Any minute now, though, we will have it. Martin, favourite moment of the race today? Standout moment?
I think Button going around the outside of... He rocked up, and within a very short space of time, past Lewis and Michael Schumacher, a tremendous move around the outside of Ascari that was critical for him to get on the podium. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the wheel-to-wheel action as well. We have got some truly skillful and brave, I mean, brave's the key word, drivers out there, because you know, the speeds they're doing, they're not going to be small accidents. OK, well, this is the F1 Forum. It's your opportunity to ask some questions. I've got lots of tweets coming in, so let me just throw them out there. We'll get through a load if we just give nice, quick answers. Coming towards the end of the season, there hasn't been much talk of drivers leaving and joining new teams. We've had another announcement of a driver staying at his team for 2012 this weekend, Eddie, but the silly season hasn't got going.
There's just very few guys emerging, or at least apparently so. When days gone by, we'd hear the GP2 champion of this and that guy from there and this and that and the other. Maybe Grosjean, who's already been in Formula 1, who some people have a question mark at, he may be the only one who may emerge into Renault, because I do believe they're trying to revitalise the Renault link in Formula 1, because it's important. They themselves, and I can tell you this, are committed to trying to get a Grand Prix back in France and re-emerge the French drivers, which it's been devoid of for the last number of years. So, you know, they have a big mission on, so it may be a French driver back in that team. That's the only change I really see.
OK, that's from Dino Toll. One for you, Martin. He's saying we should all leave Schumacher alone. If Lewis raced like Schuey did today, we'd have been calling Lewis a hero. That's from Danny Is Now.
Don't agree at all. We tell it the way we see it, and you know, we know what it's like to give it, and we know what it's like to take that kind of action out on the racetrack. And Michael was pushing the limits to the extent where his own team boss came on the radio to tell him to calm down. So I don't care what they're called. We got to tell it the way that we see the cars on the track.
Okay, F1 ML to David. Button did in 2 corners what Hamilton couldn't do over several laps. Will this make McLaren realise that Lewis Hamilton is overhyped?
Well, he's a world champion. He's incredibly fast. I don't think there's any overhype. I think he's having a turbulent season. He's been involved in a few incidents and accidents. I thought that was a more considered drive than we've seen from Lewis and maybe a few of the other Grand Prix, which was necessary. He needed to get points to get his confidence back. But Jenson is, as we saw from his interview with Lee, a very good interview. He's as confident as he's ever been. He feels he's driving better than when he won the World Championship at Brawn. And, that gives him the freedom to pull off these passes. So, you can't write off Lewis Hamilton. That's just ridiculous. So two world-class drivers in that team.
Nice one here, actually. This is from Hero Rig saying, looks super hot out there. Why didn't the stewards take action on the Schumacher-Hamilton incident? Just explain that one more time for people that clearly still don't understand why no action was taken, Eddie. You know the way these things work.
Well, I think it's like a referee. Some people, let's say, would bring football into this as an analogy. If a player takes too many tackles and he doesn't deserve really a yellow or red card, he gets a final warning, and for me that was it, the final one. One more move and he was history as far as the stewards were concerned. He was going to get a penalty, probably drive through or whatever it was. It doesn't matter at this stage, but it was so severe a warning to the team that it took Ross Brawn to actually come on and say, listen, Michael, take stock.
Okay, well, I've just seen the message from about 250 people to say that we just advertised the Singapore Grand Prix happening in August. We know it's in September. Sorry about that. Someone will be in serious trouble. Don't worry about that. But no more tweets needed about that, because we would like to hear from you about Jaime Alguersuari, who's here right now. And Jaime, you were called by David Coulthard as his driver of the day. And we spoke just before we came live on the BBC as you were walking through the paddock, and you said, well, I might not as well bother qualifying because it's all about the race. You did really well.
Firstly, thank you, David, for picking me as the driver of the day. And I think the race went really well for both of us, for the team in general. I think it confirms that we have a good car for Sunday, that we're still lacking pace for Saturday, but on Sunday everything is going very well. We really look after the tyres. We don't use the tyres so much, and this is, I think, one of the best things that why we can do so good, and to keep on pushing at the end of the year and keep on scoring loads of points.
Why do you think you have the race pace and not the qualifying pace necessarily? What's different for you on race day?
I think this year you just need to care about the rear tyres on these cars, and this year tyres are much different than what it was last year. If you look at the beginning of the year, I was suffering a lot of tyre degradation, and I was stopping always once more than all my rivals, and obviously finishing in the back. And then we changed so many things on the setup of the car. We've been working so much in Faenza, in Bologna, in the factory. And then we've realized that it's just about the race. Qualifying, it does matter, but it's more about the race pace. And then you need to work much more the front tires than the rears by changing your setup, your driving style. We realized all these kind of things, and in Monaco, I would say, I didn't finish because I crashed with Lewis, but I think Valencia was, again, a really good race. And after this, everything came much easier for me, and I'm really not struggling to be there. I do struggle a lot in qualifying because obviously you have a race setup car, but on Sunday everything comes much easier,
Before Valencia, we were writing you off. You were history, weren't you? You were about to be sacked. I remember your dad and yourself coming to me and talking about various things, and you had a great race in Valencia. Psychologically, what's changed? Because you're a different person.
Nothing. No, absolutely. I'm the same person. The only thing we changed is the type of work. When I started in Hungary 2009, I never raced Formula One before, and everything was new for me. I understood Bridgestone tires. I think Formula One is all about experience. Obviously, talent is very important, but experience is really a key, And Formula One, it's so many things. It's so much different to other categories that you just need to test and understand everything, 2010, I think, was a good season, especially the last part of the season. Then everything changed for 2011. Tires changed, the car was different, and I had to rebuild my speed again. At the beginning of the year was very difficult. Qualifying was not so bad, but the race was awful, We were using the tires so much. We were stopping maybe 4 times per race, and this was, the race pace was really bad. Then we realized what we wanted, I knew the problem, but I didn't know the solution. So we started to build up our work. We started to understand what was going on in the car. We changed geometries, suspensions, so many things. Everything changed. I felt a different car in Monaco, and everything came differently.
Okay, well done.
It was like this.
Well, congratulations. I remember you telling David that you feel like a superhero behind the wheel. What were you today? Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, what was it?
You always feel like hero when you drive a Formula 1 car.
Super God.
Jamie, do you need that water?
Yeah, I do.
Can I have it?
Yeah.
You can get another one over there, maybe, yeah?
No, I
think you need it.
okay.
I think you've been working a little bit harder than him this afternoon.
Okay.
So well
Thank
done.
you. Thank you very
Congratulations. All right, we'll see you later on.
There's a brave
Thanks,
driver
Simon.
send back.
refusing Martin Brundle a drop of water.
I'm sure we can get you some water. Don't
Imagine
worry.
what kind of feedback he'll get at the race.
We could even move into the shade or something like that. Instead of baking.
This is good. It's good for the suntan. Now, Ted Kravitz, we would love to hear from him because he's got some pieces of paper with all kinds of numbers and things on. And what we would love Ted to do is...
I was going to get Martin a drink of water. The lovely Amanda Davis from BBC News has Martin Brundle's bottle of water.
Oh, Amanda.
Come on, Amanda.
We've got water
Give us
coming
Martin
everywhere
Brundle's-
now. Look at that.
Give us Martin Brundle's bottle of water. God bless you.
Thank you. There you go, boys.
Look,
Anybody
water
else
coming
need
out your
any
arse.
water?
Excellent. Well, we need
It's
this.
not as cold as that one.
So while we refresh ourselves, Ted, would you mind talking through the analysis for us?
Did Michael Schumacher cost Lewis Hamilton and Jenson Button the race? You're probably going to give me a one-answer word,
chance.
all of you. No chance?
No
Okay, well, let's
chance.
look
You
at
mean
it.
against Vettel?
Let's look at it. Against
No
Vettel.
chance.
Okay, let's look at it. They were stuck. Jenson Button was stuck behind Michael for 16 laps, and he cleared him. Now, during that time, we've got all the data here. Martin, you can go through it with me if you want. He was over a second slower. So Vettel's lap times, let's say lap 11, 128.5. Michael's lap time, 129.5. That's a full second. And by extension then, Lewis Hamilton's lap time, 129.4. So that's just under a second. And Jenson Button, 129.0. Button got past him in what, 3 corners?
Yeah.
Okay, so that. It didn't cost, maybe it cost Button a second a lap for 16 laps. And he finished 9 seconds behind Sebastian Vettel. So Vettel was obviously cruising at the end.
Yeah. There's so many aspects there. You don't know if Vettel had been put under pressure, if his car would have been quite so strong. But Jenson was a long time before he caught the back of that pack. He didn't really pounce on them, did he, until the fight became quite strong. But I don't know. I don't think anybody was going to beat Vettel today, but I like the numbers.
So is then the question about Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton was stuck behind Michael Schumacher until lap 27 and lost all that time. And then, as we said, the McLaren team said he needed motivation then to get up, and he needed encouraging to get up and challenge Alonso.
Can we
and then
just
he finished.
show the camera the information that you've got there, Ted, because it's very difficult sometimes for you guys at home to say, well, the race happened for this reason or for that reason, because you're only seeing the pictures at home. But this is the kind of information that the teams are receiving.
Yeah, it doesn't look very sexy. It's just a load of numbers, but it is absolutely key. It's a lap chart, and those who are old-fashioned keep their own lap charts in the media centre, and it gives lap 1 to 10, and then it gives the numbers. It's very old-fashioned. Gives the numbers of each car. So you see there, I've just highlighted lap 16. And in the lead is number 1, that's Sebastian Vettel. Second place is number 5, that's El Cinque, as they call him, that's Fernando Alonso. And immediately then, it was number 7, which is Michael Schumacher on lap 15, but I've circled it because it's number 4. That's when Jenson Button manages to get past him, and it goes all the rest of it. And the other one is the other important one, the race history chart, and that just gives you the picture of the race on each lap. So you've got on lap, say, I was talking about 11, number 1 was Sebastian Vettel, and he was doing a 128.5, and then number 5, the Alonso was doing a 29.4, and so on and so forth.
And that sort of stuff is essential for understanding the race, because it's very easy to switch off the television as the cars go over the checkered flag and say, well, Sebastian Vettel's better than everybody else. But only when you get your hands on that kind of information can you properly tell the story of what's happened during a Grand Prix.
Well, we're talking about all sorts. You know, Perez could crash. We're watching wheels come off cars, and then you might miss something that's happened. So yeah, you have to comb through this. The answers are all in here, James.
Tragically,
I think the numbers are sexy, especially if there's enough zeros after them.
Just coming back to the question, Ted. For me, if anyone here, I'd like to hear from them, is suggesting you win the race in the slowest possible time. That's what Sebastian did. That's all he was required to do. He drove a magnificent race, controlled from the front. If you're trying to tell me that was his ultimate pace, I think you're wrong. I think that Sebastian just cruised all the way through the race, not just at the end. He drove brilliantly.
in my loft, I've got, at the end of the season, they used to send you every driver's lap from every race. of the Grand Prix and put it in a book is about 3 inches thick.
You've still got it?
They're up in the loft, yeah. I might make
Okay, well,
3 quid on it one day.
I'll just leave you with a thought then that... there's Jenson Button coming into us. I'll just
Yes.
leave you with a thought then that McLaren, by their own admission, say that they were racing the wrong person today. They didn't expect to be racing the Mercedes. They didn't set their car up for that. They were expecting to race the Red Bull with the car and the setup that they've got. And now Jenson Button's giving me evils because I'm talking.
No
when he should
problem.
be,
Well, it's the
so I'm
perfect
off.
time to talk
off.
about that. Jenson
on,
Button joins us. Congratulations to Jenson and congratulations to Martin. Another strong race. Is a lady who's very excited that Jenson Button suddenly appears. Yeah. Jenson, well done. 3 podiums on the spin now. You're driving brilliantly at the moment. How does that one compare to the previous 2 races for you?
Well, I think we should be happy with the end result. After the start we had, you know, a frustrating start, had clutch slip, and I was just sitting there, and I knew everyone was going to fly past about 100 meters after the start. So I ended up 7th and had to fight my way through. And it is a lot of fun doing it that way. You know, had a great battle with Lewis and Michael into Ascari, but you can't beat Seb and Red Bull if we have one little mistake. So that's something to work on. But I think all in all, the pace of the car and what we've done as a team this weekend has been great. But it's just these little things that we need to iron out.
Yeah. Can I sneak a question in for both of you, first of all? In the beginning of the race, it looked like you were controlling your pace, leaving a bit of a gap to Lewis. Was that a deliberate action just to keep things cool, or was that your only pace at that point? And I just fire one into Martin because I won't get the chance afterwards. The play-in we heard on the radio from Ross Brawn to Michael Schumacher, telling him to, you know, keep the right line into Ascari. Is that something you listen to? Are you listening to the other team broadcasts through the World feed?
I'm sorry, I got lost. I was listening to that question. What was the first one?
Were you controlling your pace at the beginning? Or was that as fast as you could go?
his microphone now, so
Was I controlling?
I'll keep this for the rest of the interview.
The rest of the season.
Well, I'm not even going to bother answering now, so you just keep talking
No,
over
go
me,
on.
Jake.
Sorry, JP. I'm sorry.
You have my fee as well.
Right, now wait, I'm off. Was I controlling my pace? It was a tricky one because I could push really hard to catch up with Lewis and Michael, get in the DRS and then take it easy because you gain so much on the straights. Or I could hang back, see what had happened and then start pulling them in slowly. And I decided to go for the pull them in slowly initially. I thought, this isn't working, it's taking too long. So I kicked in a lot harder. And I did damage the tyres quite a bit, but I was eventually able to get on the back, get the DRS, and then you're in cruise control, basically. So it's a nice position to be in.
How did Michael's driving, and did you think those two are going to have each other off any minute now? How did that look from your position?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't involved with that, but I felt that Michael was moving more than once on the straight, down to into Ascari. He didn't when I was there, but I was already alongside him. To be fair, I don't know where he was when I turned in, because I just closed my eyes. Which worked in Spa, and I've decided to do that from now on. I think other drivers do that, so I've started to do that now, and it works quite well.
Well, it probably leads nicely onto you and talking about the team radio we heard from Ross Brawn. How involved were you in what was being said? What were the discussions? What went on?
I think one of the things we should just record here, I mean, people think of Jenson as this thinking driver, super smooth driver, quick driver, but you know, now there must be, what, 35, 40 competitive overtakes in the last 3 races. They've been blinding, haven't they? And so obviously shutting his eyes does work.
Sounds like a new contract, Jenson.
I think the problem is we're starting so far back.
But how satisfying is it, though, to do something that your teammate couldn't do for a couple of laps the first time you had an opportunity?
Wow, that's a question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, when you have these DRS zones, you got to do it straight away. The problem is, if you do it on the main straight, Michael's got a big chance of getting you back on the second straight because his straight line speed's so good. So you got to get the move done, get a good exit, and floor it and get away. And I was able to do that. So.
Martin, earlier in the programme, Jenson said he was the new team leader. Is he?
Hang on, Eddie. Hang on.
You're not involved in
I
this,
said that Lewis thinks he's the team leader. I think I'm the team leader.
Exactly. Well,
but it works in a good way.
No.
I didn't need you to interrupt my question.
We've got 2 great drivers.
Oh,
and,
hey, listen, we're now listening to the corporate answer.
Exactly.
Is he the team leader?
He is a great driver, and he's doing a fantastic job at the moment. There's no doubt about that.
We've got 2 team leaders, and that's why we do so well, I think.
In terms of points, though, Jenson is the team leader. So why have we not heard an announcement from yourselves that Jenson's getting a £500 million a year pay rise and a 3-year contract? Don't go, Jenson. You need to hear this.
Jenson is stuck with us next year, whether he likes it or not. So I think he likes it, and I think we've worked well together. He's been a fantastic asset of this team, and I think, you know, at the moment we've still got 6 races anyway, so we're not, you know, we're thinking back in Woking about next year, but we've shown today if we can make good starts, we can qualify well, we can take a race to Red Bull. I think Jenson's driving better than he's ever driven, and he can win races. There's 6 left, and I'm sure he's going to give it his best shot.
Can I just pre-warn Jenson of something, because this is a beautiful relationship and we hope it lasts for many years. It will inevitably come to an end at some point as drivers move on. Just a word of warning, when I left McLaren, they gave me a bicycle, so don't think you're going to get a car or a gold watch or anything like that.
Jenson, would you like to meet 2 people that Martin's already fired at some point?
Well, maybe we can have maybe we can have a little chat later on, yeah?
Well, you know,
there's too many of those in the paddock.
But in terms of you, Jenson, you want more than just a contract for next year, wouldn't you?
Sorry, I didn't catch that one.
You'd like more than just a contract for 2012. You'd like a longer-term deal, would you, with McLaren?
Of course I would, but you know, there's things that we all need to discuss, and it's not good discussing on a race weekend. You know, we need our time away from the circuit, and it takes a little bit longer than you'd like sometimes, but that's always the way it is with things like that. Okay. But we're not going to discuss it here. I think the important thing is I definitely want to be here, and that's the aim definitely for next year and future years to come, hopefully.
Martin, is it all down to the amount of use that you use your drivers and corporate days? Really, it's a very extensive request that you have them.
It's not all about that. It's about making our own plans. And again, as Jenson said, I think the right thing is that we discuss it quietly. I think that Jenson has done a great job in this team. We've enjoyed working with him. I'm sure we're going to find a way to work for many years to come, and that's certainly my wish. And I hope it's Jenson's.
Back to today, Jenson. In the press conference, you described your overtake of Michael as one of your best ever. Is that really how you feel?
I felt.
Were you showboating?
It was one of the bravest moves I've done, because it was down the outside into Ascari, and I don't know if I was in front or not into the corner.
Yeah,
but
you
when
were clear of him, but
oh, was I?
Yeah.
Well, I was rubbish then. It was
about
easy.
half a metre or something.
Okay. Well, were we still side by side or not?
No.
Oh, okay.
He'd given up by then.
We try and get it. Would you like to see the moment you overtook Michael Schumacher? It's the kind of thing we can get you very quickly.
I'd love to see that.
I think you always enjoy watching yourself racing.
You can play that as many times as you like, actually, in the introduction of every single programme for the rest of the season.
I think the important thing isn't just the overtake, it's who the overtake is on as well. And Lewis has talked a lot about the fact that overtaking the fast drivers, the legends, the world champions out there, it always means a bit more, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And I think this race was very interesting because I don't know if it's the first time, but the first 5 drivers in this race were world champions, which is quite interesting. Just thought I'd throw that out there. But yeah, I mean, diving down the outside into a fast corner like that, it does take your breath away a little bit, and you hit the brakes, you think, I hope I'm in front. And I gave him space around the apex, thinking he still might be there. I came out the corner and was able to get on it and pull away. So.
And a sigh of relief from you, I guess.
Yeah, well, inevitably, to get past was a sigh of relief. I mean, this race was deeply frustrating for us on the pit wall, and was frustrating for these guys to know that you can go quicker, to know that your competitor, someone like Seb, is opening a gap when you're stuck behind Michael, who's being super aggressive like that, is deeply frustrating. So, there was lots of reasons why I think we were all quietly cheering on the pit wall when Jenson did that great manoeuvre.
OK, Jenson, talk us through it. Over to you.
Tell us when you had your eyes shut.
OK, yeah, this is it. Well, I got a really good run at the previous corner, and I'd saved my curves up so I could get down the outside, but he backed out that very late. I wouldn't say I was a metre in front of his car.
There's your mum.
Oh,
your mum was impressed.
I think my dad was as well, so yeah. But no, it was an important move, and you saw how difficult it was to overtake him. And Lewis fought for so many laps to try and pass him down the main straight, but we ran out of revs. We hit the limiter and we just couldn't get past him.
Why do you think you could pass him and Lewis couldn't?
I don't know. I feel that I had a really good run out of Lesmos, and I don't know. I braked as late as I could there, later than any other lap, and I eventually got the car in. And
yeah, you just got in.
Yeah, the rear started coming around, and but no, it was an exciting move. So it looked better than you described it, Martin. But there you go.
Yeah, it was very good. I loved
it. It's interesting your mum could see it was a good move.
You were playing it down.
Martin couldn't.
Well, look, congratulations. I think that move alone is worth another 5 years. But well done, Jenson. Congratulations to you and Martin. Thank you very much for joining us. And disappointingly, Eddie gets his microphone back. 2. Now that is dangerous. Thank you very much. Now let's do a 180 and make our way down the pit lane, because hopefully we'll catch up with Paul di Resta at some point. And it's great that Jenson's always so keen to come out and join us and have a bit of a chat about his racing. And I guess it makes it easier, David, when you've done such a good overtake. I guess you've been there, you've done it, you've pulled off great moves. You want to tell the world about it, don't you?
Yeah, I wanted to ask Jenson actually whether he's ever been sort of whooping in the car when he pulls off a great move. I know that I did occasionally,
right.
And you just wanted to look around and share it with your mates.
There's no one there.
Unfortunately, it's a very lonely moment when you're in the race car, and I think one of my best ever overtakes wasn't on television, sadly, so I just have the memory. You just need to take my word for it.
Go on then, you talk us through it.
It was
We'll
amazing. It was
relive
in
it with you.
Magny-Cours. It was down to the hairpin. And you had Irvine in the Ferrari. He was pulling a pass in some other random car. I think it was a Jordan or something. And I went down the middle of the two of them and came out of the corner. It was a corner where I waved at Michael when I passed him. So that was why it was and I went, ooh, yippee, or something like that.
Nice.
And no one saw it.
For me, just one reason coming back to Jenson. On the grid before Martin's grid walk, we talked about why do we feel this air of confidence about Jenson. And that's exactly the reason why. He's happy with himself, he's happy in his own skin. He just feels he wouldn't in previous years, in my view, said, I think I might be the team leader, because I know it was tongue-in-cheek, but nevertheless, I think he probably is thinking about that. We have seen the emergence of what a great world champion he was. And can be in the future again. I think he's driving, by his own admission, better than he did at Brawn, because I think he was slightly apprehensive in Brawn when things started to crumble a bit, where he's now super aggressive, super confident, and he is one of life's great gentlemen. He's a joy to interview, so that's the reason why I think he's so comfortable
Bruno,
with himself.
We're almost running you over. Sorry about that. We're like one of those...
I thought I was talking about Jenson there for a while.
You were, but we nearly
went on too long.
We nearly ran over a driver. We'd get ourselves in trouble.
We'd spoken to Bruno.
Yeah, we had. Yeah, we'd already spoken to him. You've negotiated contracts for yourself, contracts for other drivers as well. What's the hold-up? What's the sticking point? What's going on there with McLaren?
I've done contracts with McLaren for 3 drivers, which is myself, David, and Gary Paffett.
Yeah.
And they're very complex contracts, and they're very good contracts with McLaren, because there's no surprises, and they're 70-odd pages long. But if you're looking at the next phase of Formula One, we've got the engine change coming up for 2014, and they're putting in place long-term deals for engines, for sponsorship, and the future of F1, and a lot of that hinges on having world-class drivers for a team like McLaren. So they all knit together. But also it has to be said that we might hear about a new 5-year deal, but there'll be all sorts of clauses in there that might mean that deal doesn't go a full 5 year. I'm not talking about Jenson Button, I'm talking about generally. So it's not always what it may seem. And you could imagine that in a 72-page contract, every single word is legalese. It means something. It's not. There's no fat in there at all. And therefore they're quite complex agreements to get absolutely right. I would be sure also that Jenson is trying, whilst they've got an option on him next year, he's trying to change some aspects in that next year contract that's already put in place as part of a longer term deal. And they really aren't, Eddie, they're complex agreements, aren't they?
Well, they are complex agreements, but I think by and large they're fair. We're very fortunate in Formula One. We don't actually see many arbitration clauses, and we don't see drivers rushing to courts anymore. Those things used to happen.
Because of the contract recognition boards.
Well, and that's why I was about to come to that, and because that was brought in because drivers used to wander in and wander out, and teams used to fire their drivers willy-nilly. That was a bad period of Formula One. Now we've got contract recognition board, as you rightly say. I was involved in the beginning of that. It's very important to have it in place because it gives respect to the teams and it gives respect to the drivers, and that was vitally important.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you very much for that. We'll wait and see how that one unfolds. However, one driver who no longer needs to negotiate his contract for next year is Jarno Trulli. He's here alongside Tony Fernandez. And let's start by saying congratulations to the both of you. Tony, you get a race-winning driver for another season, and Jarno, you get another season in Formula One. How do you feel about that?
Well, to be honest, I'm not really concentrating on my future. I would like to concentrate more on today's result, which was great for the team in general, and was a nice race. Obviously, we got together since now 2 years, and I'm really happy to stay with Tony and the whole team, which is growing up. But we all want to do well, so for next year we want to make a further step and be, let's say, in the midfield to fight for the points.
And your best weekend this year, well done.
Yeah, I think Spa was fantastic, and we were really thrilled with today's performance, so good start.
Tony, I was critical of the three teams yesterday, and I know you came to me and I was expecting a near bashing, but in actual fact you turned around to me and you said, look, if that's going to give us a kick up the rear end, then so be it, and it'll be good for the team to set new targets. Because you did come out at the beginning of this year and you said that you'd be running midfield by the mid-season. Sadly you're not, because we would like to see that, and in fact we'd like to see each of the three new teams getting up there. Tell me, how difficult is it?
Well, no, I mean, for me personally, I always said my target was 10th. You know, we really wanted to be a column 1 team, set the bases, get the wind tunnel right, get some new people onto the team and start to begin to make a difference in terms of catching up with the midfield. It's really next year is our big year. Obviously, there's some in the team that got quite excited. But, you know, as I said, Rome isn't built in a day. It takes time. But each race, we're making progress. If you look at our pit stops today, they were as good as anyone else. I think Jarno did a fantastic qualifying lap yesterday, and the two drivers, Heikki and Jarno, did a fantastic job today. So, you know, small steps, each step, but I think next year our car's already in the wind tunnel and we're feeling good about it.
And just very quickly, can you explain column 1 for the people at home that aren't au fait with that term in Formula 1?
Well, it's where you get much more reasonable money.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Tony, talking about money, how tempting was it? I mean, Jarno's standing here, so it's a tough question, but how tempting was it to take one of the new young kids out of GP2 and $10 million of sponsorship?
Yeah, and I see that's where it's, to me, penny wise, pound foolish. And we've really set this plan up for the long term, and we've got to do the right things. The valuable information Jarno gives, you know, the critical information on steering wheels, on feedback, is invaluable. So, you know, and they don't shunt the car very often.
And have you got something in your contract for next year where the team have made promises about where they expect to be, Jarno?
I think me and Tony, we all want to be in the points. I think there will be very little excuse for next year. We all want to get there. I'm keen to get back in the fight. An example, today I enjoyed my race. It was a great race, fighting with Timo and getting back in my position. But obviously what we want is to fight for the points. And I think this is what also our boss wants, because at the moment he is putting a lot of effort and a lot of money on it.
We've seen the growth of some sponsorship along the side of your car, Caterham, which is one of your new companies. Will that play a prominent name in the chassis next year, perhaps?
Well, you know, we have a pretty weird situation here, and hopefully pragmatism will work out. When I came into this, I said the most important thing was not to destroy the Team Lotus brand, and we worked very hard to keep it. Certain things have conspired not to really go our way, but I think doors are open to make things workable, and hopefully over the next 2 months we'll have a situation that everyone wins. So let's keep our fingers crossed.
Okay, well, congratulations today, and there's probably going to be a rumour next week that David Beckham's going to sign to drive for you next year.
If you have something to do there, I'm sure we will.
Good luck tomorrow night.
Thank you, guys. See you.
Thanks a lot. Well done. Congratulations, Tony. And Jarno, look forward to seeing you next season as well. So, Jarno, truly, many, many years in Formula 1, once again looking to get back to the front, looking to pick up maybe a second race win if things went really well next year. But what about a man who's fresh into Formula 1 this year? Paul de Resta's come out to join us. I'm sure he's had his debrief by now with his engineers and things, perhaps had a bit of food. What has happened to you since the end of this race? What have you done? Have you gone through the analysis yet and chatted to your engineers or not?
Yeah, just like normal debrief. Just going through it. You know, just seeing it on a computer makes it a bit different. Gives you an idea of what decisions they were making on the pit wall, when to stop, and why they done it. And I think a fairly aggressive strategy for us on tyres was a bit risky, but given our performance, it wasn't just strong enough today, and that was the only way we were going to make it work.
Anything else you've learned or gleaned from your chat with engineers that you can share with us that might enlighten the audience?
Not really. I think we were where we were. You know, it certainly showed. I think the work we done on Friday, the laps that we could do on the soft tyres equal the hard tyres, is what we targeted, and that's all that was going to be left in them.
Paul, I'm surprised, to be honest with you. I don't know how Alguersuari got in front of you. You had a really stonking start, and you did an early pit stop, and yet he got you came from back of the grid.
Yeah, I mean, we had to stop quite early because the tyres were degrading very quickly. We managed to stay in front of him, but when he came back up behind me mid-stint too, he passed me, and we came directly back to the pits to go to the primes, where we thought the crossover was probably right. And after that, he just put in, you know, some good laps and managed to extend his run quite a bit up the road, and genuinely beat us on speed. I think he was probably fortunate to get where he got in the first lap in terms of what happened and get right behind me, because he was, you know, 7 places behind me, and you know that doesn't normally happen. But you know, they had good speed today.
Oh, you're now a veteran of just over half a Grand Prix season. What is different in your approach now when you go into these flyaways at the end of the year that you simply weren't prepared for in Australia? What's the biggest experience that you've now got? Apart from obviously the laps out there on track, but in terms of working with engineers, the understanding the car.
I'm actually looking forward to getting away again. I think sometimes they're a bit quiet. It can be a bit more focused, but at the same point, they're all going to be new tracks to me. So there's a lot of learning to be done. I know it's going to be a tough fight. We're going to be under pressure to try and beat Sauber in the Constructors' Championship. So there's going to be added from that. But genuinely just working with the team and making sure we do the best job possible. And there's quite a few races coming up that are going to be important to us, equally with the up-and-coming Indian Grand Prix. It's a brand new Grand Prix, so hopefully that should help me a little bit in terms of it's new to everybody, and we'll gain a bit of advantage from that.
There are only corners and straights at the end of the day in different order, but today, how confident were you that you could keep Senna behind you in the closing stage there? He was catching you fast, wasn't he?
He was catching quick. The team said, just carry on the pace you've got. They were keeping me informed what he was doing. He had a different tyre choice to me, so he was on the options at the end. We were prime, and I think the delta between them was what it was. I think it would have been tough to keep him behind, given that their straight line speed advantage they had over us this weekend, again, would have proved difficult. But we've scored 4 points, and that's what we came here to do.
Paul, if you can remember the second last lap, because I was watching with great interest what this little battle could be. And you lost 2.5 seconds. Was that an error on your behalf, or was just outright speed from Jaime? Because it seems such a big amount of time to lose.
On the second last lap, that was Jenson Button came up behind me, and I had to let him through. He had the blue flag lights on in the car, and I had blue flags on track. And I don't want to get in the way of at the front. I knew there was a bit of a gap to Senna, and that was well within reach of staying in front of him until the end of the last lap.
And being lapped, of course, helped you in that position, because then the lap was brought forward an early. Interesting point we should talk about at some stage, where the lapping actually can be an advantage.
Yes. While we've been talking to you, Nico Hülkenberg walked behind and into the track. Who do you think could be your teammate at Force India next year? Will you be at Force India next year?
Nothing. The team have said that they won't come out until December and say what the driver lineup is. Which is quite late. I'm just focusing on the job I've got to do at the moment. There's people in the background that do that kind of work for me, and that's what they're there to do. I'm there to drive the car, and I'll continue just trying to make the best possible job until then, and see what it leads to. But the first Grand Prix season's always difficult, and you need to make a name for yourself, and I'm just going to keep hopefully building a long-term future with Force India.
Leaves a bit of uncertainty though, doesn't it? You'll be driving around in Brazil wondering if this is your last hurrah at Force India. Would you rather that it was sorted out now and you knew you were in the car for next year and you could focus on that?
I think in hindsight you always do. You would always push for that. But I'm fairly relaxed about it. What will be will be. It's out with my decision. There's people there, and there's different reasons why it happens. I just hope I've done enough to help the team and done a good enough job in their eyes for this season. I've tried to do the best job and extract as much as possible.
Paul, you look so relaxed to me. I have a fair good idea, like everyone else watching, where you're going to be driving next year, so we won't go too far into that. No. So we'll wait and see, but we already believe we know the answer.
Yeah, well done. Listen, we've kept you in the sun long enough. That looks nice and cool. I'm sure there's all kinds of nice drinks and food in there, so we'll let you go back in. Wish there was air conditioning in the paddock. We'll see you later on.
Thank you.
All right, see you in Singapore, Paul. Congratulations. Well done to you. Right, Fernando Alonso finished on the podium. A lovely moment, wasn't there? After they'd all sprayed the champagne and Fernando picked up the trophy, took it to the front and just pointed to the fans. The roar was incredible. Let's hear from him. What was it like to be on the podium 2 seasons running as a Ferrari driver in front of the Tifosi?
Fernando, congratulations, the home podium in front of the Tifosi. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I feel good. Obviously, winning is always better, but we need to be realistic and knowing that third again today was the maximum. We did a very good start. We led the race. We led the race in the first couple of laps. We enjoyed so much that, and after it was a good battle with Jenson and Luis for the podium. And at the end, it was good. A little bit of help from Michael to stop Luis in the majority of the race, but it was good to taste the podium again here in Monza.
Yeah, a bit of help from an ex-Ferrari man. Just tell us about the start, because it was another great start from yourself, and the crowd were going crazy.
Yeah, the start was good in the last couple of races already, but it was always very short distance between the start and the first corner, like a Spa, for example. But here in Monza, we knew that if we repeat a good start, there is a long way to the first corner, and it was the possibility to overtake people, and we just did that. I think the team did a perfect job again, preparing the start, and a little bit on the grass, a little bit on the asphalt, a little bit of risks, but I think we enjoy all of us this start.
And there he is. This is the moment on the podium, and we'll just let you listen to the roar. Beautiful. We can only imagine how that might feel one day, David.
Well, I said at the end of commentary, let's hope that all of these new Grand Prix tracks learn from this little message. You see the crowd below the podium. So many of the circuits, you have the podium, you have a few of the race team there, and you have no crowd, no atmosphere, but clearly a lot of atmosphere there.
Yeah.
Red Bull still relatively fresh, celebrating those race victories.
And as a team, Eddie, how will it feel coming to a race where they weren't expected to do well, and again, not just winning, dominating the whole weekend?
Well, I think, you know, go back to the podium, the tear in his eye, that was emotional because he wasn't expecting to be there. And then you saw this huge mass of people all shouting in excitement, and the people here are well educated in terms of their racecraft. They were quite happy. Vettel is a new star. He's won here 3 years ago, so they've probably adopted him as much as you can do against a Ferrari driver. But, you know, this is a hugely emotional place to come, and if you're on anywhere near that podium, of course you're going to be so excited, and he's no exception.
OK, well, let's hear from him now. After these celebrations, he spoke to Lee.
Sebastian, congratulations. It was an interesting start. You dropped a position, but when you took it back, my goodness, what a pass that was.
Yeah, like me, I mean, obviously I knew from the lap before that it's possible down to the second chicane. I had a very good exit the lap after, and yeah, was able to really get into Fernando's toe, and then I thought if I move right, he has the inside, and for sure he will handbrake the car somehow, stepping on the brakes like a crazy and handbrake the car into the corner and still manage to stay ahead. So I decided to go left. But I think he didn't see me in the beginning, and I was with two wheels on the grass. Fortunately, you know, turn 3 opened up down to turn 4, and I stayed flat out and, you know, saw the opportunity of passing. When I found myself on the inside, then I was quite, you know, confident that I have the inside line. Yes, I will make it. So it was great. And from then onwards, obviously crucial to pull out a gap and use the speed that we had today.
I'm going to stop and restart in a second because I think there's someone here to see you. Sebastian's just talking to Dr. Helmut Marko, but he's back with us now. After that, you did most of your racing in maybe the first 5 laps, and then what was it, a bit of a lonely race after that for you?
Well, I mean, I don't know what was going on for the rest of the field, but you know, obviously I was pushing hard then to get away, build a gap, because you don't know what happens. So to make sure we have enough, you know, flexibility for the stop and enough room, you know, if something happens. On the other hand, you don't know if the safety car comes out again, so you don't want to ask too much to your tires. But for sure, you know, we were in a comfortable position and able to manage the gaps. But still, you know, especially towards the end, the last 10 laps, you're just praying, you know, knowing that this is a tough track for engine and for the car because of the curbs every single lap. Everything, you know, sticks together, and so you just try to nurse the car back to start and finish line. But yeah, once we crossed it, obviously, once, you know, exiting the last corner, the last lap, then I was pretty certain that, you know, we should do it.
Don't tell me you're not thinking about it yet. You've got a commanding lead in the championship, and if things went your way, you could win it at the next race.
Yeah, would, could, should. I mean, to be honest, I think the secret is not to expect too much, because then, you know, there's a chance that you get disappointed because you might not, you know, fulfill your expectations. So I think we have nothing to worry about. We have an excellent car. The team is great. We do perfect pit stops every time. So, you know, really we go to Singapore and try to get the best out of ourselves like this weekend, optimize our results and see what we can do. But, you know, surely the ultimate goal this season when we started was to defend our title. I think we are in a good position, but the rest we will see.
So a special victory, an emotional victory. The man who has led 500 racing laps so far this year. No one else has even led 100. Well done to Sebastian Vettel. Looked very emotional, Eddie, the place where he first picked up a win in Formula One.
Yeah, but that's what's so nice about this boy. He's easy to chat to. He's always got time for the media. He's very honest in the way he's driving. We call to question his ability not to win or to be strong from the... If he's not on the front row, where is he going to be? He demonstrated beyond all doubt in the last couple of races. He's an out-and-out racer. He's a worthy world champion. It's not difficult, as we've already talked about. Why was he emotional? Because, one, he didn't expect to be up there a couple of races ago. And this place is so full of passion, it makes the hardest heart weep. It really does. And Monza is a very special place. It's in the top 3 of the great circuits of the world.
And I'll put the same question to you guys that I put to Eddie at the end of the race. Was this overtake the overtake that means we may well see Sebastian Vettel as the winner in Singapore? And how important for his recognition and his standing that he won today with such a move?
Well, I think it was important for him just to carry through what he'd started next at that first chicane. You know, he obviously had sight of the corner. Here we go through Curva Grande. We've mentioned several times already, Martin highlighted how this corner was a corner in earlier days in Formula One. Kept his foot in, put a wheel on the grass, made sure he was positioned down the inside. It is so difficult to stop these cars on the dusty inside part of the racetrack, but he made it stick against a double world champion, Fernando Alonso. So I think that was a great move. That was a major sort of, you know, tick in the box of, you know, this guy not only can qualify the car, run out front, but he can race as well.
It quietens the critics.
It does, and I have no idea why there's any critics out there talking about his racecraft, because I hadn't spotted that in the past, and I think that absolutely puts it to bed completely. I mean, that was, you know, you're doing 210 miles an hour, you've got 2 wheels on the grass, Fernando Alonso trying to run you out of the little bit of road you've got left, and still you then make an overtaking move. We know how hard these cars are to drive when you're all by yourself here testing for a day at Monza, let alone when you have wheel-to-wheel action like that, and you're living on your instincts. And I think that almost the tears on the podium. I mean, he's got this championship in the bag, but still he has the passion and the drive to take those risks and to stand up then realise he's a very lucky young man to be in the position that he's in.
Well, a great atmosphere, a great race, great to share it with all 3 of you. And as one wonderful career starts, another wonderful career comes to an end. One final guest that we need to introduce you to. Roger, just step over here, Mr. Bynes, because after 15 years of walking up and down the paddocks and the pit lanes of the world, Roger is going to say goodbye to Formula One perhaps after this season. It's been wonderful to share it with you. You don't do the long hauls, which is why you're not coming to the final few races, but I know that we've all loved enjoying watching this little monitor for the past few years. What's the last 15 years been like for you?
It's been fantastic. It's been a wonderful opportunity, I think, for anybody to do this, you know, to have an insight in Formula One and just be here with everyone. And I think the whole team and, you know, everybody has just made it a fantastic job.
You'll have me in tears in a minute. We had Sebastian nearly crying on the podium. You'll have us doing the same. Can you pick a standout moment from the last 15 years? Anything that stands out as really special, something that you've seen, maybe personal to you?
That's a difficult one, Jake. There's so many events which happened, you know, since I've been doing it. But I think probably, I would say when Jake Humphrey joined the joined the team, I think that was a breath of fresh air for all of us, you know. So it's been great working with him and the rest of the guys as well.
We've loved it, haven't we, guys? He's looked after us well.
Done, Roger.
Okay,
been there all the way through.
He has. Roger, well done. 15 years of sterling effort in Formula One. He's been brilliant. It was great to share the race with you, with the guys, with Roger as well. But I think the last word should go to you. I think you should tell everyone to join us in a couple of weeks in Singapore. How about that?
Come on, Roger.
I don't even know the date.
Just say it's in 2 weeks' time.
It's in 2 weeks' time, folks, so tune in to BBC.
Absolutely.
Perfect, there you go. Well done, Roger, and well done, Sebastian Vettel. See you in a couple of weeks.
Bye-bye. 3 of them side by side, and Alonso lead the Italian Grand Prix.
Next time on Formula One, round 14, Singapore.